Yes, we will. Excellent. Good to go. Put the socks up. There we go. Go with a nice. That was a nice dark pink. Mm. It's the Cuban. Blend, I believe. Yeah, it's the Cuban blend. Yeah. That's what shot is. That's what it's done. Okay. So, the article or the memoir or the, what do you want to call it? The writing piece. The, what do you call a short writing piece?
It's a short story.
It's not a story. It's a guide. It's a it's meant to help people.
Is it meant to help men or women?
Well, both, because 80% of double standards, probably 87% of double standards benefit women.
Is it a playbook?
Like fun?
No, like I don't know how to explain that.
Oh, a playbook, like how to.
Yeah.
No, 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 because every man has to pay his own way. Otherwise, what is he doing? Like, so to an extent, a man can learn how to do this or that from another man, but at the end of the day, a man's relationship is his kingdom. His home is his kingdom. Mm. It's his home, right? So with that, and this is the issue that I think women have with men, or that they fail to understand. When you choose a man, you choose a leader to your kingdom. Inside the kingdom, we do certain things that other kingdoms don't do. They may be similar, but they're different. In order to successfully submit to a man, you have to drink the Kool-Aid. Otherwise, you're just causing him more and more turmoil. Because he's got to go out, do what he's got to do. He's got to come home and re-explain why he's doing what he's doing. So if you don't believe that it's a good man, you shouldn't give him the opportunity to lead you.
No, that's true. I agree with that. But you're not. I suppose that maybe taking submit there a bit too literally.
Some people get triggered by that, but at the end of the day, submitting is a funny thing because a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think of that in a very different sense.
a lot of people can submit to being flown to France. It's pretty easy, right? Get on this plane. Yes, sir. But submittance, the real stuff, only matters in things that you disagree about. Said your dad's wrong about that. I know he raised you, but he's wrong about that. At least for the way we want to take this family. Um, yes, your dad raised you a certain way to be a certain type of woman, ideally, but it can never be exactly what the man that you choose to lead you. You know, you still have to do some type of molding, some type of, the T word.
But you believe that it's the father that's molded the woman to who she is at that point in time.
I believe that. I believe that women cannot instill values into daughters. Value. That's why when a woman grows up without her dad, she has those issues that she needs to identify with in other men. It's that value that isn't been placed in her. no matter how much your mother loves, placing value into her daughter is difficult. It's just very difficult because,
Yeah, no, I can
you know,
see that. I do know.
yeah. Okay, so it's like, um, your girlfriends can give you a lot of things that guys can give you. They can pay for your meal, they can drive you around, X, Y, Z, but it's different when a guy holds your door open. You
Yes.
know, you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it's
no,
just
absolutely,
it
yes.
instills a value and it just comes out differently.
There's
So
a different kind of comfort to be gained from a man than there is from a female counterpart. Doesn't matter how good friends they are.
and it's the same for us, you know. The thing is men can draw more from other men than women can draw from other women, I believe.
Mm.
Okay, because the nature of the load that we need a woman to carry for us is not as big as what we need to carry for each other as men. So I can cry around my guys. I can lift things with them. I can help them pay for things. I can fight people with them. None of that do I want you to do as a woman,
Yeah.
right? But these are very important parts of being a man, to be able to defend, to be able to create, to be able to, you know, die if need be, to protect what you care about. I don't want a woman to have to die for what she cares about.
Yeah.
But I would
I can
gladly
see
do
that.
it. Right? Not gladly, but you know, I would gladly do it before her.
Do you think you've got an old-fashioned point of view? Like the whole
A
hunter-gatherer kind of.
I would say yes because that's what it's called, but I don't think it's old fashioned. I think it's tried and true.
Yeah.
It's like
Even with women trying to be more independent though.
well, so I don't stop women from being independent. I just don't. There's a thing called frame. I don't follow women. I don't get into their frame. You are allowed to be more masculine or more dominant or whatever you want to be. It's just a free world, but that won't work for what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And I'm responsible for my relationships. So if I let you take the lead and it crashes, it's still my fault.
Yeah.
So why would I want to be responsible if I can't take the wheel and do what I got to do? So I applaud women, you know, that do that. I was raised by women, so that's kind of what I grew up underneath was, you know, the empowerment and the putting women on pedestals, you know. But I've learned that those type of men are weak men because they value what people think about them too much. That makes a weakness.
Yes.
You know, it makes it hard to be honest. It makes it hard to upset people. And now, funny story, I was talking to a girl. She asked me, hey, I wish I could do something to make it better. And we don't even know each other like that. But I was like, you know, news always help. You know, right?
Yeah.
And she got offended. She said, I'm actually upset you asked that. I said, I'm not here to make you happy. I'm gonna be me. Like, you don't have to like everything I like. I don't know you like that, but it is funny. And if you don't think it's a joke, you don't have to laugh. But it is irrelevant to me how you feel about what I think and what I feel.
Yeah.
I know that we're not on that level, but I'm gonna joke about what I want to joke about. And if it's offensive or whatever, probably not the guy you should be trying to talk to. Now, again, as we discussed earlier, the only people that would shame somebody for that would be other women.
Sometimes.
And in most cases, not all.
I have my entire group of friends likes to actually see mine.
Good. Well, they should.
Yeah.
My whole photography stance is based on making women realize how beautiful they are without anything added. Therefore, when you strip everything away, when you take away all of the, well, I don't mind the jewelry, but the clothing and the design of this and that, and you get a photo, and you look on the back of the camera, and it's perfect, you know it's you.
Yeah.
No additives. So it's very easy to do once you figured out the art of doing it. So that's my favorite thing about photography.
Do you think though that most men share your point of view with relationships and how the power balance should be?
I think most men don't know that they would share that point of view.
Mm.
I think most men are coming up from a post no dad situation, mother ruling the world, to a now tech heavy, you don't need to be a manly man to make money situation. So there's no need to try to cross over into something that you never needed.
Yeah.
Right? But at the end of the day, if you got a computer geek as a boyfriend and you get a flat tire, you start to realize how useful he really is. If he can make a lot of money, but you still got to wait an hour for AAA, you're gonna miss that dinner. I
You
was,
can change your tire.
oh yeah, so I drive. So I drive through town in my truck. I have an electric hammer drill and all the lugs to change tires. Recently, I was out hanging out with a girl, and we drove past somebody, and I could tell it was already gone bad. The tire was up in the air, and he was trying to break the lugs. I'm like, yeah, you just pull over. This take me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I pull over, jump out, run back. Men know you can't break the lugs. Well, let's just say some people know you can't break the lugs if the tire's in the air because it'll just spin.
Okay.
So you have to keep it on the ground first, then break the lugs, then lift it and take them off. But with the hammer gun, it doesn't matter if it's up or down. So his is already in the air. So I just went back, put the right socket on, five off, take it off, put the new one on, five on. And then I used the socket to lower his ramp as well. So it's like, no sweat, brother. You know, I'm prepared for these situations because if a man's not useful, what is he?
And the girl you were with then when that happened, I take it, did she enjoy that?
She thought it was really cool. She's
Yeah.
like, I've never seen a guy do that. It's like, because you never seen a guy. I don't know. It's like if we guys get gas, you shouldn't be getting gas on your hands. How would that happen? Why do your hands smell like gas? What's going on here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's my cologne, first of all. Second of all, my mom raised me differently. So, again, the goal, men's and women's goals, I believe, are completely different in life. Women want to be happy. They want to be, you know, at peace. Men want to be useful, real men. It is the nature of it, you know. I once knew a girl. This was probably 4 years ago. She had came from a traumatic relationship in the past, where her ex would intentionally jerk the wheel and like act like he was going to crash the car as a joke, and she never thought it was funny for the whole relationship. So when I would try, she really appreciated that I just drove like just regular,
Yeah.
not going to risk your life or anything near that. We just want to get to where we're going. She was like, I typically don't let anybody drive me, so I appreciate that you actually just get me there safely. So yeah, those are different dynamics on a spectrum of what men can do for women, or you know what I mean, right?
So what about if a woman could do it herself? So I recently put some shelves up in my kitchen. Now, say you've been there, would you have let me put those shelves up myself, or would you have wanted to take over?
I don't take over. I offer.
Yeah.
Right. So there's two different things. Like, can I do that for you? Do you need some help? Can I help you with it?
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it for you? You know, it's like either of those questions could be asked. I wouldn't be watching you do that while I'm playing video games. That's for sure. You know, if you just want to take on a project and feel a sense of accomplishment, and that's great. I would allow you to do that. And if
Yeah.
anything were to go wrong, I could be there to assist. So it's not like a controlling, you can't do this. One thing I don't like is when women reach for door handles. Like, first of all, you shouldn't even know how to use a door handle. So you should just stand there confused if I don't, like, don't touch doors.
That is a double standard in itself because women want equality, but then we expect the doors held open for us.
Which we appreciate that double standard, in a sense. Men don't try to change that. What goes wrong is when a man says, fine, then open the door. That's when things get a little hairy. Like, obviously, you could do that, you could say that, but it's hard to stay in frame and do something like that. It's kind of a feminine kind of move, like, for a guy. Like, you really? If I see a dude do that, like, you either in a fight right now or you must be her brother, because
Yeah.
that's not the time, you know. So if I'm walking with a girl and she doesn't understand, one of my pet peeves is when they don't understand how to take the angle to the door so that I can get there, because I'm gonna walk behind you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, but then I need to get in front of you to open the door. So, and it's just,
It's reading those signs though to allow somebody to do that.
but
But I think sometimes for women who are very independent, it's also quite a hard thing to take that step back and allow it. As nice as it is, because it is nice.
But it's, yeah, so, and I think it's more evident of the fact that, like you said, it's rare. You don't deal with a lot of guys who get offended. Like, even opening the door. You know, I drive a truck. If a girl's gonna get in my truck, am I just gonna be sitting up there? My truck is lifted, right? Maybe sitting up there 12 inches off the ground, just looking down, like, climb in, or I'm gonna get around, open the door, hold her hand so you can get up in the truck.
Yeah.
It's like that type of thing. So I feel that the nature of a man should be to go before and after a woman, protecting, leading, like, you know. So I have to both, like I said, I walk behind you, but I get in front of you to open the door. Then you go in first, I come in after you. Obviously, you're the pretty one, so why do I want to go in first? I'm trying to look good, right? So I need to be seen with you, not,
Yeah.
you know, who's this gorilla. So it's like, that's what I sign up for when I engage with a woman. I'm signing up to do these things, you know, to provide for you in more ways than just financially. And so that's not the same thing I'm looking for in a woman. All right, I love a massage. You know, I got a bad shoulder. I like it to be, you know, worked on a bit. But if you couldn't, if you couldn't, if you couldn't give me a massage, I wouldn't think that makes you a lesser woman. I guess there's professionals that can do it or whatever. But if I
It's
can't,
not the same kind of touch.
truly, it's not. But if I can't give a massage,
That is rare though.
that's different, right?
That is extremely rare.
Really?
Yes. And 9 times, no, not even 9 times out of 10, if a man offers to do that and give a massage, it's with the ulterior motive of
The intention.
having sex.
Well, you know, everything women do has the ulterior motive of having sex. So, but that's because I'm a healer, right?
But a
So
lot of guys
if I-
wouldn't do that.
Well, but if I care about a person, what do I care about? I care about making their day better somehow. Specifically when it comes to healing touch, you know, this physical touch is like one of my love languages. This is how I communicate with people, guys or girls. You know, I'm at the gym with a guy. He pulls some. I dive on him. I got you, bro. Let me stretch it out. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just who I am. I'm going to get in there with my hands, and you know, it might get a little intimate here in the gym, but you'd be better off if you just let me do this. But yeah, I guess it's just the nature of who I am. But I mean, I think a lot of guys, guys go to the moon just so they can have sex with girls, technically, right?
I don't know that that's really been my experience.
It's true though. So a
Guys
guy,
don't ever really had guys massage.
well, I'm just saying in general, everything a guy does is to attract women.
Yes.
You know, it is just that simple. We're just that primitive, and that the thing that we need to gas our tanks is a woman's presence. And after that, we can do anything. We can take on the world. We can fly to the moon. We can build a skyscraper. We can do anything. But it's only after we have the backing, or you know, or in an attempt to earn the backing of someone's love.
Yeah.
Or you know. So with that, everything guys do is basically leading to, is she going to sleep with me? As primitive as that sounds. Now here's where I take that stance though. Oh, it's your move.
Well, you wait for you to actually play.
Mhm. Here's why I take that stance. Okay, so sex to me is not what women think sex is to me, and that is all the guy wants. Blah blah blah. It's the only thing you can think about. It's not like that. Sex to me is a evidence of openness, a proof that you're open to me. If you are open to me, then I have no issues protecting you, providing for you. You know, everything else. Everything in the dating game before sex is potentially wasted money, wasted time. Okay? If it doesn't end in sex by the 3rd date, that's my rule, then you don't really like me like that, which is okay.
Yeah.
I say, if you don't by the 3rd date decide that I'm the guy that you should be laying next to, it's not a bad thing. It just means I didn't prove to you that I'm the guy you should be laying next to. It's just that simple. I failed to show you what you needed to see.
Do you think, does your kind of opinion on the woman change once you slept? The way you view her her.
I couldn't. I mean, I guess obviously I view them differently as mine versus a girl that I'm courting, or as in like, I've seen you in this sense versus before. Yes, there has to be some change,
Yeah.
but not in a sense of like a lesser person or something like that, or in a sense of a more of a person to say like, okay, now that we had sex, blah blah blah. I say, I say, what do I say? Sex is the foundation for me to build and provide and blah blah blah, right?
Mm.
So I say, without that foundation of sex, how do I know that I can trust you? How do I know
Well,
that
that's so you think sex changes the trust
you
levels?
have to trust somebody to let them conquer? You don't have to trust somebody to conquer them. You have to trust them to let them conquer them.
Yes, I can see the difference.
Okay, so that's why it's different when.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
yeah, I do agree. There are different kinds of having sex with people as well, and how much you actually give yourself to somebody.
And the risks are greater for women to sex than for men, right? This pregnancy is not no burden for you, not for us, in a sense. But what's this other double standard?
Multitasking. Because you seem to be struggling with that side.
Well, at the moment,
I'm
because
not
I
sure
was
it's a
like,
double standard.
I was going to. I don't think I've read the double. Multitasking is not a real thing.
I'm not very good at chess either, so I'm just like.
Because that's an interesting move I hadn't seen.
So what if I can, let's say I'm working on the computer and I can carry on typing what I'm typing and turn my head and have a conversation with somebody at the same time.
It's like if I'm playing guitar and I'm talking to somebody.
So.
My head is here. Yes. Is it?
Well, it kind of is, isn't it?
I guess it is.
It's just more that you struggled then. I'm not sure
Yeah,
it's
'cause it was
necessarily a
just-
double standard, but obviously there's a perception that women have the ability to multitask, whereas men can only focus on one thing at a time.
I see where that comes from. That comes from the spaghettis and waffles analogy. Have you ever heard of that? No?
Spaghetti and waffles.
Yeah? Okay, so men compartmentalize everything like a waffle. I can be house on fire, need to go fix this, gotta drop the kid off, and none of them bleed to anything else. It's just what it is. But women, everything runs together. The way her day starts affects how she wants to eat, how she wants to move. What she ate changes how she feels about this. The person who said that, talking about this person, it all ties together.
Yeah.
And so it's like spaghetti versus waffles. So yes, because you are probably doing more things are on your brain at the time, whereas men, we really just divide and conquer.
I speak from my own experience because I know a lot of my friends don't tend to have the single ones, obviously, so quite a few of them now married. And they don't tend to sleep with multiple partners. We can do it, and I know other women that do it.
Right.
I think for us, the lines get blurred a lot easier than we perceive them to get blurred for men, shall we say, in terms of how much our feelings are developing. It seems that it's much easier for men to engage in really casual relationships, whereas having that delineation for women is a lot more difficult.
Because two things about that. Let's talk on the men's side of that. Having casual relationships for men, or technically for women, I think is doable if you can be upfront and casual about it, as I see. But when it comes down to it, having a relationship for a man, if a man is able to receive the benefit of a woman being open to him without paying the price of being a man, sure, he'll take it, but it only makes him into more of a boy than a man, right? Taking without paying for it, in a sense, not in a sense like prostitution,
Yeah.
but like in the sense of getting something you haven't earned doesn't make you a better man.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of denigrates you. So if I'm going to be in a relationship with multiple women, I need to be providing for them. I need to be something more than just, laying down, right?
So do you think then of sheer curiosity now, are you more kind of polyamorous than anything? Do you believe in monogamy?
I believe women are monogamous naturally, and men can have their monogamy earned,
Mhm.
but not naturally, no. And that is to say, yes, men can have and be a monogamous and still be fully committed to a person, because a man's commitment looks different than a woman's commitment.
Yeah.
I believe in a female standard. When you look at a man, you can say, how can he do that? But as a man, it's different, you know. So for men, being monogamous is a trade-off for something. It should be. It isn't. So most guys are in a relationship, in a commitment, in a marriage, and they haven't made the rules to say, hey, here's how I feel about X, Y, Z,
Mm.
right? And so with those men, they will inevitably have to lie about who they are to an extent, or hide something about what they really feel. Because a man possesses the ability to be in love with a woman, i.e., pouring all of his time, energy, resource into her, and still park somewhere else for a night.
Yep.
Right? And that doesn't waver his commitment or his whatever towards this woman, because it doesn't involve what I'm actually doing, what I'm actually building over here.
Yeah.
You know, and so I talked to a girl. I said something to this example: if a woman accepts a man and that he's not monogamous and actually allows him to be that, and says I'm with you regardless of that part of it, then what does that make for a man? He can go out to the club with his friends. He can meet women and say, "Hey, what's up? You trying to go down tonight or what?" Yes or no, right? So it's a yes or no question at that point. And then you have to consider this. He can be honest to you about who he is. He can be honest to this one about who he is. So he goes out to this one and says, I already got steak at home, but if you're trying to have some french fries, let's throw it, right? Now, if the woman says, what percentage of women do you think would say, yes, let's go?
A very small percent. But I also think that there's so many different factors to that. I think coming from construction background, we are, and I've had this conversation with a number of females I work with in construction, we are typically more open to the idea of playing around with men that probably shouldn't necessarily be. Not so much in your scenario there if it's open and on the table, but I think it does vary on the environments that people are in, what you see going on day to day.
It's also different because of where we are in this country, right? But consider this. If we're in hometowns, you got your wife at the house, she knows what it is. You go out with your boys, you're at the club, tell the girl, hey, what's up? I'm trying to smash these things right now. What's up? Let's go to the bathroom. If she says yes, which is a small percentage of women, because you haven't provided any value to her yet.
Yeah.
If she says yes, now man, a logical man has to think, what's wrong with her?
Yeah.
Why would she say yes to that? She's crazy, diseased, or looking to rent a home.
But do you think that's so? In that scenario, then, and on the subject of double standards, so it's okay for the man to ask that question, but if the woman says yes, then there's something wrong with the
It's
woman.
not to say, it's to say what's going to be the real issue, right? There's got to be an underlying issue that makes a woman so open that if I walk up to her to the club, because it should be a game. It should be true, but
You know.
it should be a game. It should be earned. It should be X, Y, Z, right? And if it isn't, then if it's too easy, if anything is too easy, like if sex comes too easy, it's not worth it. It's really not, like, right? It's gotta be. Okay, so I'm at a place where sex is work, right? If I'm auditioning to sleep with somebody, I'm auditioning putting in work to sweat, you know. It's not like I'm auditioning to lay down and loaf around and be like, yeah, whatever. Like some dudes can just lay there and get sucked on. I'm just like, that's cool, but I got some work to do, right? I'm auditioning to put my back into it, okay? So, with that being said, you can move it, yeah.
No, I can't.
It'll be safer.
I'm not stupid.
No, you will, because your pawn are protected.
No, it's If I move like that, you can just go straight across.
Oh, you can't move it technically. I was saying as far as it would be safe here. Yeah, you can't move that.
Yeah. Physically, it will move there in terms of the rules of chess. However,
But guess what?
it's a really bad move. Yeah.
So yes, um, if I walk up to or a woman just approached me and said, "I want to sleep with you," that would be odd. That would be strange. There's got to be something not right. Why do you want to sleep with me? I haven't offered you any. Basically, that's what it comes down to. I haven't offered you any value. The fact that a man looks good does not get him laid. It helps.
I'm not sure I agree
Okay.
with that always.
Consider this, because you can name a guy like Leonardo DiCaprio or something, right? Leonardo has a terrible body, but he's a A-list actor. It's not because he looks good. It's because he's got status. It's the same.
Yeah, that would it.
It's not him, but it's somebody, right? So if you think of any regular dude that's just gorgeous, and if they don't approach you the right way, if it doesn't play out the right way, it becomes a no quickly for women.
This is true. No, that's very true. If somebody kind of gives you like that sort of ick factor.
Yeah. So it's not as easy for a man just because he's good looking to get laid, which a lot of people think, oh, when people look at me, they say, you must be this, why aren't you out here doing this and that? Because, first of all, I don't like to be looked at as entertainment because I'm kind of boring, you know? And second of all,
You're not boring. Just
I
clarify.
mean, in my general, like, I play chess by myself a lot. I smoke, I read, like, I'm alone a lot. I just do my own thing.
Yeah, but you are a very interesting individual with different aspects of life. And I don't think you give yourself enough credit for that, actually. You're quite harsh on yourself.
As a man should be.
It's interesting though, because you are physically very attractive. And yet, you don't necessarily seem to see it yourself. Which is almost, you know, you kind of see a lot of beautiful women and you think how lucky they've got it, this, that, and the other. But they've equally got the same hang-ups.
No, different numbers, true.
Well,
Truly different. So, being a beautiful man, which I don't identify as that, first of all.
I
You
know.
will use my pronouns. So what would you say? Okay, so as a beautiful man, a man that identifies as beautiful, if he doesn't have status, it's just a big pretty dude. What use is a big pretty dude? And then he probably, if he's just got looks, hasn't had to work for it. So we assume women should just lay down and lay on top of him rather than do the work, right?
There are men like that as well.
They think I'm the pretty one in the relationship. You make me happy. And that's not the way it works.
No.
Okay? So,
That's not going to guarantee you repeat visits either.
not at all, right? Now, with women, if they're pretty, their quandary is they have to prove their worth a lot of times.
Yes.
Because typically, pretty women don't work for things. They just have them handed to them. So it's like you have to prove which one you are. So it's different, you know, and it's no matter what. As long as you're beautiful, guys are going to assume you didn't work for it.
So do you think then? I don't know where it is. Do you find beautiful women interesting?
I find all women interesting. So, especially in my style of photography. I think women are interesting because, sidebar, when I ask a woman, does she think she can be platonic friends with a man? She answers yes. I say, really? How? What can you offer him? And one of the top things women say is, I can offer female perspective. And I say, okay, that doesn't really count. And I said, so how about this? You've got a married friend or a dating friend, okay? Him and his girl get into a battle, a situation, they need to take some time apart, right?
Yeah.
They disappear for the day. He comes home, starts rubbing his wife's feet, runs her a bubble bath, stuff he's never done before. Flowers in the water, the oils, the candles, orders lobsters, all this stuff. She says, as he putting her in bed, getting ready to get in bed with her, she says, what made you change your mind? What made you decide I was right? I said, oh, let me talk to Rachel. She said I should do all this stuff. How does she feel? That female perspective is useless. The only female perspective a man can use is the one that he's sleeping with. Because it's the only one that matters. So then what can you offer your male friends, married or not?
So you just don't believe that men and women can just have a platonic
They can, it's just not healthy. Because having a platonic friendship with a woman puts me in danger.
See, I have a platonic friendship with a guy. Admittedly, there's only one guy that I truly would class as a platonic friend.
Ouch.
What?
He hates that.
No, he's married.
That doesn't. So again, marriage to men and women. He hates that.
We get on really well.
Surely, but there were better ways to get along and still maintain a friendship.
Oh no, don't ruin it.
Truly hates that.
When I would assume though that he like, why would he hate it? On what basis?
Because he can't draw anything out of the friendship. And that sounds selfish a little bit, but it's not to say like, what is she really gaining from the friendship is the question. Okay? So, as long as you guys are friends and you see him as a friend, he knows not to cross that line. But would he? If there was no consequences, you line up 100 married men and say your wife doesn't mind if you're not monogamous. 87% of them be like, okay, and those other 13% are probably undercover both hitters or they're clergymen, right? And they're just like, I just don't believe that's okay. But 87% of men would say, yeah, cool, then I wouldn't be monogamous. I'm monogamous because it cost me more if I wasn't. Now, you take women and you switch it over and that 87% flips. If you take a chick, she goes to the club and there's 50 good-looking guys in the room. She doesn't say, I want to smash all these dudes. She says, I want to find the best one. I want to have the best one. And not his friend and not that. None of these other ones will count. I'm looking for the best one. The dudes are like, yeah, I'll take all 8 of those right now. We can go. You know, he thinks he can handle it, you know. But it's, you know, eyes are bigger than his stomach in that situation.
Yeah.
That's how we're different, okay? So when it comes to being platonic friends, a man can't gain anything out of you. He can only provide to you. It's a one-sided relationship. And again, if you give him your female perspective, he's not allowed to use it, especially not in his relationship, and not publicly. Surely you can offer him some knowledge, and it's like,
But what
yes.
if the wife knows you?
And that's cool, you know, and that's how I say. So if I'm dating a girl and she's friends with a couple, then she's the wife's friend and happens to know the husband. Even if she knew the husband from high school first, it should just never be misconstrued because he shouldn't be texting you at any time to say, hey, I have a question. As friend. That's how she should respond. You shouldn't. As friend.
Interesting.
It's respectable. And what do you gain or what do you lose by not having that male friend if you have a man already provided for you? But you gain all that. If you and him went out hanging out, he would be offered to pay for things. If somebody came up and tried to snatch your purse, he would stand up and do something about it.
See, I paid for dinner when we went home.
And that's cool because you're platonic.
Yeah.
So it doesn't turn you up per se. But in general, he would ideally be paying for stuff. He'd be protecting you when you're in public. The presence of a man scares off most weak men. So you could go downtown with it late at night, get some drinks, get a taxi, and get back home with him because
Oh yeah,
in the
no.
presence. Right.
Yes.
And he's going to offer you protections and provisions that a man offers a woman. But what does a woman offer a man? If she can't offer him advice, what else can she offer him? Sweet comforts. Lavish comforts. But you can't offer them.
It gets cake.
So,
Does cake count?
it does. It's got its benefits, yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, he wants different cake. So,
No. I can't view it that way.
I know, right? But it's hard, you know, because there's that, like, you've always been the advantage in this situation. It's hard to see your advantages because it's always just been that way. And this is how society is set up. So, what it comes down to
For
is,
me, it's because that was such a rare thing that it was a male friend that was just that.
so you were saying this is the type of guy that if you texted and said, hey, why did we never work out? Why didn't we ever try to date? You would say, oh, because you're just a friend? Or you think you would give me a reason? Like, because you never gave me the window. Don't ruin the friendships here. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not gonna try. Yeah.
When you sit and think about it, and, you know, and which is the difference between men and women as well. When we look at certain things, we have to analyze to the end product. We have to. We aren't allowed to go into a situation without some type of outcome.
Mm.
At least banking on it. If if we are with boys, just run into the store, don't know what you're for. Like, I'm going into a situation with a planned outcome.
What if a woman was just doing that and was quite open and happy and very sexually liberated?
At the end of the day,
Does
mostly,
that change your opinion of a woman?
we would say,
We as in men.
older Stoics would say, a key that unlocks many locks is a master key. A lock that is unlocked by many keys is a broken lock. You ever heard this analogy?
No.
Okay, so obviously you know which one's the lock.
I get it,
So,
yeah.
because women are born with value in every society, it is only their goal to preserve that value.
So you think that women devalue themselves by being open?
Yes, to an extent, because what it does is it now takes you out of the opportunity to be married to X, Y, or Z, right? Because they're going to have this standard that says, I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't want a girl that a guy can say, hey, I know her too, brother. You know, like, you want to have the head nod. And so, in that sense, yes, it is. Unless you don't value being married per se, then it doesn't affect the value that you hold in yourself. But in a societal sense, in every society, because it is in fact a woman's world, it's just weird because we think it's not, but it is a woman's world.
Do you not think that's the biggest double standard there is, though?
No, I think the biggest double standard is monogamy. I think it's close though.
But it's like if a guy can go and do it, and he gets a pat on the back.
Right. Look at this. So because in order for a guy to sleep with a woman, he has to provide value. Some way, somehow. Typically. Giving your value, exchanging your value for a man that hasn't given you value is obviously any women in that situation. They may not even be good in bed. Okay? But if we're different. We're different in so many ways. And so our rules of the game are different. It's the guy's job to be Genghis Khan, to divide, conquer, spread the seed, whatever. It's the woman's job to be the great queen, the one that nobody can touch but the king. Right? And even since, like, there's so many differences in, like, when a woman makes X amount of dollars, when she breaks 6 figures, 6.5, she's thinking, I could be independent now. I can do whatever I want. When a man breaks 6.5, he's like, I can supply a family now. You know? He doesn't think I want to be independent. He thinks, I want to build a kingdom with this. I want my tribe. So, yes, we are different in how we look at the intercourse part of things because every guy's goal is to be valuable enough to sleep with, even if he doesn't know it. Because if he doesn't, he can't leave a legacy.
Yeah.
So, now you have to decide how you want your legacy to be. And that's where it's like women have the gateway to starting a legacy, which is sex. But men have a gateway to, in the other sense of the commitment. Okay, so a woman decided to be promiscuous doesn't hurt a man because he gets the value that he wants out of it. But what does she get in return? Does she get the ring? Does she get the provisions? Does she get the name?
I think a lot of people are
I think a
in
lot.
different ways.
Right. And that's because of that dynamic of partnership that people keep talking about between men and women and a 50-50 sense. And it's
Yeah.
not. And because that's saying, I want the ring, I want the name, I want this, this, and this. But if you are not monogamous, I'm taking half. Then why would I get into that situation? Why would I get into that situation? Personally, knowing that I'm not a monogamous person, not because I don't want to be, but because the amount of respect it takes to keep me monogamous, people aren't willing to give.
So do you think then, so let's say, so you're not monogamous, so you're dating multiple women, having intercourse, whichever. Is it okay for them to be not monogamous as well in your eyes?
It is absolutely okay.
So there's a difference between that, go back to your lock analogy then.
Right.
There's a difference between being non-monogamous and just being a broken lock.
Well, change it up a bit. But yes, there's a difference between a master key and being a broken lock. Because a master key is useful in multiple settings. As to say, if I'm the master key in the setting, I can provide this, this, and this. If any woman is by my side, they don't have to worry about violence, money, a ride, massage. I can cook. I can fix things. I can make air conditioners work. There's things you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
It's the privilege of me learning all this stuff and being able to offer it to you. I didn't learn it, so I can do it to myself, right?
Do you want a trip to the UK?
I do. I really do.
I'll leave you a list of jobs.
Yeah, the honey-do list is a pride thing. I want to be the honey-do. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, kind of lost my train there. Yes, there is a difference between. So, what was the question?
Being a broken lock and master key and non-monogamous.
Oh, the original question was: is it okay if a woman is not monogamous with
Yeah.
her?
Is there a difference between that? You know, say
So,
I don't know what the acceptable number is. That you know, if
oh, so that's another. So let me go with this. The first original. If I'm with a woman and then she is not monogamous with me, this comes to frame. I've established a set of rules to how we play this game. My cheating is,
do you say cheating?
yes, my cheating looks different than your cheating. Your cheating involves sex, my cheating involves time, money, efforts, extraneous, like, drive or whatever, right? So, again, if I have a woman that respects me unconditionally and she knows I'm not monogamous, then when I go out in the public and I'm at the club, which I'm never at, but if that was a scenario,
Yeah.
and some woman is attractive and she's over here dancing on me, like, are you trying to smash right now? Which the proper answer is no. So then I have to say, then leave my presence. But if you say yes, then I have to wonder why. It's a club, you don't even know me. Leave my presence. So no matter what, it's a lose-lose for her
Yeah.
when dealing with me. But at least I can say that, and somebody doesn't think, oh, he's not faithful to. Oh, I am 100% faithful. I'm doing everything on my list of things to be faithful to. This does not go into that. Okay. So in my friend, if a woman does not acquiesce my desires of a partner, she is free to be wherever she wants to be. I just don't take her seriously. Okay. I knew a girl. Lovely woman, but she enjoys trips out of country with her girlfriends. It's not something that I'm willing to partner with.
Yeah.
No matter how lovely you are, if you need to disappear to other countries with your girlfriends, some of those girlfriends may have ulterior morals and whatnot, and you're exposing yourself to that in a place where I can't get to you if something does go wrong. X, Y, Z. I'm never gonna be the guy that tells my homies, yeah, my girl is in Tijuana right now. What's she doing? Drinking, having a good time, walking around in a bathing suit. You know?
Yeah.
Nah, no, she's not. No, she's not. She can. She's not mine.
Yeah.
One of the funniest stories that happened to me recently. I was on this other podcast with my brothers, and I was giving this example. I knew this girl halfway across the states from us through Instagram. Gorgeous girl. So I want to get to know this chick. She just seems like all that, right? And then one day I opened up we had talked for weeks, and then I opened up my Instagram, and there was a video of her twerking in the pool. And I'm sure her girlfriend was recording it, but there was a guy in the background. Just as far enough as, out of focus, but obviously it's public.
Yeah.
And that was the last I ever talked to her. Just as what it is.
Okay.
Because that's not acceptable for what I want.
Yeah.
I don't need a woman that needs to be. I want you to be able to do that. Don't get me wrong. But for me.
Yeah.
Not for anybody else. Okay, and I know I don't. So when you start dating a woman as a man, you have the responsibility to show signs of husband, father, provider from day one. And anytime you fail at that, you will call into question as a man. Period. As a woman, when you start dating a man, when do you need to act like a wife? At what point? Because it's definitely not the first date. Sometime after the engagement, right? Or sometime around that.
But this is the thing, though. It's like sometimes it does seem as though men almost expect that behaviour up front.
Don't women? So it's a double standard.
Of course it does.
We don't argue about it, but it's a double standard, right? I expect a woman to act like the woman she wants me to see her as. That's it.
But it sounds like you expect a woman to act like a lady, not a woman.
What's the difference?
You want somebody who's classy and demure in public, isn't going to cause a scene.
And is that a bad thing?
Sometimes, I think so, yeah.
How so?
Because why should a woman have to put herself in a box and quiet in her personality to please a man?
That would be the reason why, to please men. To go hunting. So this is the thing. Women don't care what men want. Women don't hunt men. Men hunt women.
But if a woman's interested in a man, she'll bend over backwards trying to please him anyway.
But the only thing I need.
And then 9 times out of 10, that's not good enough.
Right, because she's doing things like earning and keeping and trying to provide. I don't need you for that. I need a woman. If I need you, it's because I need you for things I can't do. Like protect my peace, protect my name. If you go out there, you got my name on you. Don't let nobody else see your ass.
No, but
Yeah.
no, I agree with that entirely. If you're in a committed relationship with somebody, absolutely not.
But if you want to, and this is the thing where men are failing because we don't have those standards. If you want a man to see you as a committable woman, don't you think you should present yourself as a committable woman? If I go out and I see 7 girls and they're all dressed to the 9s and 10s and they're all doing this and that, and all the skirts are up to here, I don't think any of those are the woman for me. Now the one nervous one in the back that they were like, you should come out with us too, Kathy. And she's like, okay, I guess I can find us, I don't typically do this. I'm kind of uncomfortable in these scenes. That one, that's the one that I'm interested in. What are you doing in this club?
But that doesn't tell you anything about their personality.
It tells me that they're not used to the club. The personality thing is a beautiful journey. If I drove a Mercedes and a girl got in and said, oh, this is a nice Mercedes. It's the 335 XL? What do you know about Mercedes? Whose Mercedes you been in? That's the thought, like, you shouldn't have an opinion about Mercedes. You should just think this is a really nice car. That's all that matters. If you were comfortable around this already, you've been exposed to things that I didn't expose you to, which is fine, again, because I don't want some virgin, some rookie, but at the same time, I have this question that I like to ask. Would you rather have a yacht or a pontoon? Do you know the difference?
No.
A pontoon is like a floating deck. It's got big metal balloons underneath it. It's not a fast boat. It's just a big deck, flat with a covering.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy. Like, what can you do? You can barbecue on it. You can hang out. You can drink. You can jump into the water. All your friends can fit. Same as a yacht, but what's the difference? You don't need a crew. You don't need to be seen doing it. You don't have to do it in Miami. Like, it's just the same thing, smaller scale. If women who want yachts are not the women for me.
Yeah.
I want to be able to afford a yacht, but I want to spend it on travel. I want to rent a yacht sometimes, but no, pontoon. That's the type of woman I'm looking for. So the ones who come out dressed like Ferraris and Lamborghinis, we call them miles. They got miles in them. So the question is, you got city miles or country miles? And me and my friend laugh so hard about this. Because it's like highway miles or city miles. When you refer to a car, right? Like, has it been driven rough? Or has it been like a low, smooth drive, taking stops every now and then, like, And so that's kind of how we gauge what women are going to actually attract and take or be worth me putting my resources in. Obviously, we vet them and we get to know them and see what they are. But when it comes down to a surface value, women judge men a certain way. If he's not tall enough, he's already automatically out, right? 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Nobody that's 4'2" is gonna get the chance to talk to you. Nobody that's 5 foot flat is either. If you can see over his head, then you put on heels. Now you feel like you're out with your son. It's not a position of respect or dominance. So he's got to bring strength, money, and intelligence to the next level.
Yeah.
He's got to own Google. People need to know him before you meet him, so that you like, oh, but it's the owner of Google, so we understand. He's got to have status. For men, especially men who can have any woman they want, they can afford to deal with the young Ferraris in training who just want to be on a yacht, just want to be out in Miami. I just want to go to Cabo. I can't afford that. That's why I don't deal with young women. Because I'm not entertainment. I'm not just a wallet. I have more to offer. I have a wallet. It has something in it. But I'm more than that.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's just a difference. It's a difference in how we play the game. You know, we're looking for different things. So when a woman serves a man in every sense, loves him, loves him, loves him, loves him, in every sense, that's great. But men don't eat love, they eat respect. So what does it matter? It is my turn. So yes, women offer a lot of beautiful things when it comes to love and everything, but do they offer respect? Because you could not love me very much, but respect me in everything I do, and I will be completely fine with our relationship. Because your love will change. It will grow, it will fade. It does that. It doesn't do that for dogs, it doesn't do that for kids, but it does for men. Love changes. Okay? Now my love is not allowed to waver. Because if it does, then you start to think you're in the wrong place. How did I end up with this guy who doesn't even love me, right? So there's some differences there. But it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah. I do think some of your double standards are quite interesting.
Which ones?
Particularly your outlook on just women in general. And what you're saying there about the whole mileage piece. And
I'm thinking men in general.
But you're completely right. But it's such a broad assumption on women. And it's like, why aren't we allowed to enjoy those things ourselves? Why does that then suddenly not make us committable?
All you have to do is lie about it.
Why would you want to enter a relationship with someone who lies?
Because women are allowed to lie.
See, I try not to tell lies. I don't like them.
I
So
understand.
for me personally,
Men can't lie in society. Women can. And
I just don't like lies.
no, I don't either. I don't prefer them. But I understand that you wouldn't lie to me unless you cared about what I thought about you. So it's kind of a symbol to me that you care about what I think. If I'm just some stranger on the street, you wouldn't care what I thought. But if you care about what I think, you'd be tempted to lie to me sometimes. And I'm okay with that because I can get past that. To me, it's a symbol.
But double-edged sword.
To me, it's a symbol of how much somebody cares about me. Because at the end of the day, the truth comes out. There's nothing that I need out externally myself. Obviously, lying to me about a business deal might mess up my money. That'd be different. But like lying about something that is probably insignificant anyway. At the end of the day, love, what I'm offering to women is love. Love is unchanged. Liar, cheat, it doesn't matter. Love is supposed to conquer all of that. It does, if you actually love somebody. So it doesn't matter if they lie to you.
That's interesting.
Women don't understand.
Yeah.
Love conquers everything, and that's why it's different for men to love women. So when I meet a girl and I tell her I love her, I say it like this. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you used to be. It doesn't matter who you're going to become. I'm going to love you the same. And if the things that I don't like about you never get better, I'm going to love you the same. And if they do get better, I'm going to love you the same. So do your worst. I'm going to love you either way. So now you have the freedom to be who you are. Pass or fail, you already have my love. So there's no fear, there's no guilt, there's no shame. And if you mess up, there's still love. So what difference does it make?
But let's say somebody messed up. You still love them.
Yes.
But
It's not like women where it's like, I love you, but I can't be around you. Yeah, it's not like that for women. It's not like that for us. Or not like that for me. That's not love. That's a form of self-serving type of love. It's not agape. It's not all love. So loving somebody, knowing you, when I love somebody, they have the power to cut me in half. Loving says you can take me to hell tonight, and tomorrow I'm gonna wake up next to you and still want to take that ride again. Hopefully you don't take me to hell, but you can, and I'll still want to get on that ride tomorrow. Just give me another ticket. Right?
yeah.
better love than most people offer. It's a simpler love too, because the answer is always the same. I love you. That sucks. That really sucks. But I love you. Right? Now, I'm not requiring unconditional love because I don't exist coming in this direction. Women's love is conditional. It's based on performance. You can love me, but if I don't treat you right, it's going to fade. It's just going to fade.
Yes.
Right. Now, because of expectation, you expect certain things from a dog, and they never fail, so you can always love them. You expect certain things from a kid, and at an age, they do it right, and they kind of grow out of it, and it starts to be like, look, you are failing my expectations, little man. I need you to step it up. You know what I mean? Like, but it changes a bit, right?
Yeah.
But with men, the expectation is great. It's a heavy, heavy expectation, and for that reason, we can and we do lose love. That's kind of a tough pointer, huh?
It just gives me different perspectives on failed relationships.
Mhm.
And it's, yeah.
Again, another standard, double standard, is that men should not expect unconditional love because that's not the nature of women in that sense. Okay. So, again, when you take responsibility for failed relationships, I already know you're overstepping your bounds. That's not your jurisdiction. So, sorry, but it's honorable. But honor was made for women, not for men.
Yeah.
So, in the name of the honor of a woman, I would do this, but not the other way around. Women don't do honor deaths and all that other stuff. They are honored. They don't honor people. So, again, a relationship is a man's responsibility. If two people break up, the guy goes to his house and says, man, how did you mess up? The girl goes to her house and she says, what did he do this time? Right? That's generally how you feel.
Yeah.
Even if she did the thing that makes it wrong, the first question is, what did he do? How did he mess this up? So, you really can't, you can't fight that. It's the way we're made. We have broad shoulders for a reason. We carry a lot of weight. But yes, so what we like, what we want is not unconditional love. We want unconditional respect, which is not talked about ever.
I think sometimes though is it doesn't matter what a woman gives a man. If it's the wrong person, it's never going to be enough, but a woman will lose herself trying to keep that.
Okay, so yes, there's an element of truth to that, I believe. But the thing is there is no right person. I don't believe. First of all, there are people that you will go through more crap for, but there's no right person. And second of all, men are simple enough that it should be kind of self-explanatory how to make a man happy. It just isn't, you know. And it's like, I mean, he's giving you all of the tricks of the trade, and yet still.
Yeah, but it's like, take you for example, like what you're saying there is you want someone experienced, not too experienced.
No, not that at all. So I dated a girl at one point, and I asked her what her number was. She said, "You're not gonna like me." But seriously, I actually am attracted to the dark sides of people, not the light sides of people, right? So I told her. I told her that I want. I told her that I want to know who you are, the things you hide from people, because that's the part of you that I would fall in love with. She told me I lost track at 175, and that was 7 years ago. And I said, nice. I'm good with this. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I know we make good connections, you know what I'm saying? So it's cool, you know. And because of where you've been, you're able to appreciate my skills in the same, and vice versa. It's good times, you know. It pushes a lot of men away, sure.
Yeah.
But again, another thing that women are allowed to lie about is their body count.
But is that not contradictory to your Ferrari piece and your mileage?
No, Ferraris are dressed, they're brand new right off the lot. They're 20 years old. You know what I mean?
So
They want the mileage. They want to go down the rough streets. They want to race. They want to do all that. I don't want to race car.
do you see how confusing this is?
It's not. It's like, so.
The
You present
mileage
yourself as-
challenge is a problem.
You
but
present
something
yourself-
with 175 people isn't.
It's not. It's who you are. It's not what you do. But if you don't ever get around to that, like some people will bet somebody based on their number.
Yeah.
That's not how you do it. I don't think that's how you do it.
I don't, it's a number at the end of the day.
It
You
is,
don't
it
know
is.
what people's experiences are, why, how they've got to that
Yeah,
point.
but she had a rough life.
Yeah.
Rough life. And at the end of the day, you can choose whatever you want to make a metric for how you make your money. It's up to you. And that's everybody's right. For me, I know that I want somebody who's not super naive. I want somebody who's been through some heartache and some heartbreak so that they know that the world is not all peaches.
Mhm.
You know, I can't stand that bright-eyed, bushy-tailed type of, you know. So for me, it's just as simple as I'm not attracted to young sports cars. Brand new off the lot, the depreciation alone is like,
Yeah.
I'd rather have somebody that you've aged a bit. Now you know what you're going to look like when you get older. You know what I mean? Like that, you know?
Mhm.
For me, that's important. I don't want you to turn into Shrek when you hit 30, because
Yeah.
you've been 29, 21 since I've known you, know? So that's also a big important thing. I like to look at somebody's mother and see what she looks like, you know? Ooh, I can get into those lines.
Yeah.
My wife, when I was married, one of the reasons why I married her was her mother was beautiful.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I want something like that. You know? But then again, it is people's preferences. Individually, people are going to do whatever they see.
But from conversations with your friends and stuff, do you think your outlook is the norm amongst the guys?
So one thing about that is men don't need communities to be who they are. We appreciate the diversities in our opinions. And so it is kind of irrelevant. But at the same sense, no, I don't share the same. One of my best friends, we argue all the time because I'm of the stance a man should have multiple partners before he can find his woman.
Mhm.
Because if he doesn't, if he's a goober and he gets giggly when women are around him and he doesn't know how to spit out his words, he may meet the woman of his dreams and she won't even give him a second chance because he
Yeah.
has no finesse, right? So how do you get that? You have to spend that time in the pit, getting
Yeah.
rejected, dating girls, taking it to the level that you need to take it to know what to do when the time comes. And if you don't, you know, two virgins will never cross paths and meet. They just won't. So
Yeah.
congratulations, but you're not going to find that person because they won't know what to say to you, most likely.
Yeah.
And then there's those virgins who still do sexual things. And it's like, so what are we really doing? Like, you can play like you're a virgin, but
Not really.
you know, let's be real about it.
Yeah.
And so there's all kinds of, you know, ways that people decide whether or not something is legit. But at the end of the day, as a man, we make our own kingdom. So it's my job to decide. Like, so some men don't agree with my views of love.
Mhm.
I know that I can love a woman after she's cheated on me. I know I can because I've done it before.
Yeah.
Okay? That doesn't end it for me. Are you coming home? Are we going to make this work? That's the question. Are we taking this ride tomorrow? Okay, so then let's work through it. Now you can continue to show me who you are, and eventually I may have to make that choice, but I know that I don't want to. I still want to keep you despite mistakes you may make.
Yeah.
So women, unfortunately, are the reason why men are weak.
Yes. I can agree with that.
But in that same breath, women blame weak men. And that's a double standard. It's your doing, but it's our fault.
Mhm.
And I feel that because weak men only exist because women allow them to. If a dude could be a bum and still have sex, then he should be a bum. You know? Now, there are more male versions than female versions. And there are more males not having sex in the last year than females.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier for women to have it.
Is it? But all women want the same 6 foot, 6 figure, whatever, right? So they all have sex with the same guy.
I'm not sure that money is all that to every woman.
Money isn't what the life is for, and you can't do that without money.
See, for me, it's not so much the life experience, it's the power. Is that men in higher earners tend to be in higher positions, and there's something more appealing about a man with power than the actual number that's in his bank account.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that.
But I don't typically go after the money situation. Just like you saying before about, women are after the rings and stuff. But we're getting to that stage of, I bought my own. It's like, I want a diamond ring, why am I waiting for a man to buy one?
Would you prefer that you bought your own, or would you prefer that a man bought you a gun?
If you'd asked me that maybe 2 years ago, I would have preferred a man to have done it.
Right. So the initial plan is aborted, and now you're in a new plan. But initially, women are in that plan where they want.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
pre-30, the whole kind of societal thing of, you're supposed to be married with children and all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
really weighed heavily on me. And then, I turned 30 and it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the world didn't end.
No.
And it's like a string of failed relationships, which is why I find this so interesting, because most men are not this open that you can actually learn something from them.
These men are soft men. They worry about what people think, but they don't realize the attractiveness of truth. I've had talks with women where they say, yeah, this guy cheated and blah, blah, blah. And they always start with cheating, which cheating means he didn't play by the rules. That's all it means. But then I say, the cheating is not what you were upset about. She said, whatever. See, think about it. You were with him after you knew he cheated. You stayed with him still, right? You did. So it's the lying that was the issue.
It's the break of trust.
Yeah. So,
Because that's what's so huge in any kind of relationship is that bond that you trust somebody not to hurt you.
what's that? But you can't, because nobody cannot hurt you and be close to you. Children hurt you.
Yeah,
It's true. So it is the consistency to be the man you said you were. Okay, it's not that you slept with other women, whatever. Because again, like I said, that wasn't the end of the relationship. That was the beginning of the end of the relationship.
Yeah.
It was the lying. You got caught in it, you lied about it. Said you would do it again, you kept doing it. Whatever. However you do it, you lie about it. Even if it was like I knew a girl, she said, I knew he had a wife. The issue was he had to lie to keep the story. So I was a part of his lie. That was the issue. She already knew he had another woman. It was just that she had to be a part of a lie in order for him to be with her.
Well, see, I had a very similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he had a wife, and that wasn't so much the issue. We continued down that road for 18 months, no problems. He then told me that they'd split up. It was over, done, finished, we were together. About 3 months after that, I found out that was not the case and it had never ended. And that sucked.
Yeah.
I still continued to do it for another 2 years.
Right, but what hurt was the lying,
It was,
not the other
yeah.
one. Right, and so this is the nature that women have been ingrained, apparently, since the time when people went to war and killed all the men and took the women. Once you get captured by another tribe, would you rather be the shoemaker's wife or live in the palace and be one of the 7? I'd be one of the 7, which means I have one job on Wednesdays. My name is Wednesday now. It's my day. And every other 6 days of the week, I walk around with my head held high. Everybody gets out of my way. They know who I am. They know who I belong to.
Yeah.
And it's not a problem for them. But have you ever seen a queen marry a shoemaker? She She only marries royalty, and when she does, she relinquishes hers to become his.
Mm.
Kings marry peasant girls, and they become queens. It's just differences in how you play.
Balance of power, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
It's interesting.
So, this is why a 50-50 relationship is not fruitful usually.
I did, in fairness, warn you that I was terrible at chess.
I could have moved a little quicker at the beginning there, I'm sure it did, but
Did
you
you
learn,
take pity on me?
no, you learn life lessons from chess. These are lessons I've known my whole life, but I see it on the chessboard more evident than ever before. Okay, so one of those things is one of those things I learned is I don't play to destroy people, but I've known that for a long time. I play to enjoy people.
So do you use chess as a way to read people?
I wish, but no, I'm too focused on the board. Some people can, like, but I haven't read anything yet besides that. You like playing chess and chess. Good. Um,
Full of some contradictions here.
which ones?
Just the
Double centers with contradictions, though, right?
But it's just fascinating though.
Which one? Which contradiction?
It's interesting your perception on the way that women dress.
Have to have some type of judgment, that's all. I want to go with a general rule.
Yeah, but a lot of the time,
I just want to go out and dance with their girls.
yeah.
But that doesn't come without shackles and tidiness.
I mean, I know a lot of, myself, my friends,
Yeah.
what we wear
But that doesn't come with.
is for us,
Yes, but
not for you guys.
I understand, but it does attract shackles and tidiness, right?
But there's arguments that all men are.
Yes, to an extent. But why would I want somebody that's willing to dangle themselves in front of dangerous situations?
Mm-hmm.
It's like an unnecessary risk. If you want to go to the club, I'll take you to the club.
But then if you were dating a girl and you were going to the club together, what would you expect her to wear?
Still something tight and modest.
Tight and modest. Do the two go together?
Yes, I don't want people to see your naked breasts and butt, but I don't want you to dress like a nun. I want a sexy woman. I want the woman that everybody looks at and says, mm-hmm. But it's covered up. It's for me.
Okay.
Similar to precious shiny gems and diamonds and rubies. They're covered up. God covered them for the person who's willing to dig for them. Not so that anybody can come across the surface of the land and just pick them up.
But something tight doesn't leave much to the imagination.
I'm fine with people imagining that they were me.
Okay.
I want them to wish they were me.
So do you think women are a status symbol?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know, a man is just a man until he's got a nice piece of candy on his arm. Like, who is she? Mind your business. Don't worry about it, right? You know? So you can look at it like when billionaires get together, they all have their wife, whatever,
Yeah.
and then the one young guy comes in with 4 models. Everybody's looking at them. And they wonder who he is. A woman should look good enough to make people wonder who I am.
So you think looks are important?
For men.
Okay.
And status obviously looks like something, but not in the face. It's in other things. You know, I wear this watch because to me it's the most underrated, underpronounced Rolex. Right? You have to look at it closely, unless you know watches, in which case you know what I'm doing.
I had this conversation with someone the other day. He stood talking to me and I was sat down. I could obviously see his watch and I was thinking, sure, that's a Rolex. And I kept tilting my head looking. And I did ask him, I said about it. It was very similar to yours actually. And I said to him, unless you know what you're looking at, you don't realise what that actually is.
Right. Now I could wear the fancy one that everybody's like, oh, a Daytona. But I'm looking at getting robbed. I'm looking at getting, followed or something. something, it inherently brings on something. I like the value, but I like it to be subtle. The best things about me aren't on my surface at all, you know. So that's just the type of person I am, you know. And so Watch is our great example of that, I think, you know. And
I think all cheerleaders though. It's just, you know, all of my tiny little earrings, the majority of them now are rubies, emeralds and diamonds. But they're tiny. So yeah, there's what, 20 under my ears. But they're all near enough real gemstones now because I keep switching them up. But unless you know what you're looking at, you don't realise that they've got very expensive ears.
so considering like I want a woman that's beautiful to me, with or without makeup. I want her to be beautiful to other people, obviously, because that is a status, that is a standard that I want, you know. But at the same time, I don't want her to be trying to be attracting other guys with her beauty, as to say, yes, I'm beautiful. And that's kind of what I appreciate about this culture we live in now. When I was in America for the last month and a half, seen all kinds of stuff I wasn't signed up to see. Going to the beach and stuff, and it's like, I guess it's cool, but, and I don't necessarily agree with the way they go to the beach here. I'm not gonna say where we are, but you know what I mean? I don't agree with that either. But at the same time, like, when we're out in public and you see people covered up and you just think, my thought is, if she was married and covered up, awesome. If she's single and has to cover up, I don't agree with that. She should have the choice if she's single. Now, if I had a wife and she decided to wear coverings for me, cover her hair, cover her body, like, that would be so dope. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'd be like, wow, I know why you're doing that. You know?
I mean, this is an interesting place. It's like obviously we're sat quite removed here, which is why I've taken off the shirt. But I
You see
do.
the guys coming to peek.
Yeah.
You know, so,
So I have to be careful. Like,
Yeah.
I nearly wore a tight dress, and then I was like, bad move.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
it attracts onlookers and such. And one of my rules for me to take a woman serious, she can't talk to other guys.
Mm.
How do you feel about that? That they're not related to you.
I think it depends at what stage you'd introduce that.
Obviously, it's like if we hear we are, don't be her, but
No.
away from me. I mean, it's gonna be up front. I tell them up front. Like,
Yeah.
like away from me, guys should be texting you. You should have a private Instagram. You should seclude yourself from other men's attention.
I think if you've agreed to be exclusive with somebody,
No, that's her earning my provisions. It's not like to say. It's just if you want to show me that you're serious about me, you won't talk to other guys.
but in this scenario, are you talking to other women?
Of course, I have to.
Absolutely not.
Yes,
That's such
absolutely.
double standard.
I know there's a lot of them, but only 3 have benefit me. The one about other women, and I can't think of the other 2. But like for me, so as a man, to create women are competitive. If a dude,
No,
they are, and they're possessive.
it's 2023, friend.
They are. Women are competitive.
Oh no, we're completely possessive. I'll give you that.
Understand, right? So, but at the end of the day, you looking at it and saying if a man can do it, I can do it, is a stance for me to say that's not a woman for me. You want to be a dude. Women are prized possessions. Women are the gem of my life. They are the crown of my head.
So let's say then, in this scenario, you're I don't know, you're dating 3 women,
Okay.
and you expect all 3 of them to completely shut themselves off from men,
Besides their brothers and fathers.
while you continue to date all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
How is that?
Fair.
Fair,
That's such
right,
a great
acceptable.
word. That's such a great word. Fairness. So here's the rule about fairness.
Because you are just then, you're putting yourself on a pedestal.
No,
But you
because
are.
if I'm dating these women, then I'm serving them. It's not like It's not like I'm dating them. I am. I connect
Commit
with
to all
women.
3 of them.
Coming to women with my time, my resources, my protection, all of that. Commitment for women looks like my body. Commitment to men looks like what I can do with my hands. Okay, so I'm establishing a lifestyle for them. I'm building up their dreams, their goals, their futures. If I can support all of their goals and futures, then I can do that.
But I think in some respects in that one you're talking to the wrong female.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, but you know what I do.
Oh, I understand. But I
From
see,
my
like, if
perspective-
you work with men, that's not an issue. If I have an issue with you working with men, then what do I have to do? Earn more money and retire.
Yeah, but that would never happen.
I know. So then you're not that.
I'm not. Yeah.
Right. But that's it. But like most women don't want to be in that position. They don't want to have to go to work. They don't have to work with a bunch of dudes that just think this. And
I'd be so bored.
well, if you didn't have to go to work, what would you do with yourself? Everything you wanted to do. Why would that be boring?
No, I'd probably do Reddit. I'd be really annoying. I'd be so needy.
No, you wouldn't, because there are things you love to do that you have to go to work instead of doing.
I love my job.
And that's cool. That's great. But what is it that you love about your job?
Being right.
Let's see. You can do that. You can do that without being at work.
On completely different levels. It's the challenge of it. And I
Understood. But at the end of the day, 90% of women.
feel like I'm auditioning for some sort of role in your life. here.
I'm just having a conversation. But 90%
I
of
know.
women, 90% of women would prefer to marry a guy that can provide for them without them having to work. What percentage of responsibility financially do you want in your relationship, especially after you have kids? Do you want to need to go out and earn half the money, 20% of the money, 10% of the money, or would you rather just have your shop of jewels and gems and your jewelers that work for you, and you go in and check on them, and then come back home, and you make your money passively?
But I'd never be comfortable spending man's money. Because it's not mine.
Okay, again, so that in itself is a masculine trait, right? And that's okay because women have been forced to be masculine for about 60 years now, right? At least.
But I think as well is like, a lot of women at some point in their lives have been let down and pushed away.
Soft men,
And
unaware men, men who aren't able to provide, have stepped into a role and then failed you. And that builds an armor, and it builds a callus, and it builds a new way of you, and you reinvent yourself to be this. But if that all didn't happen, you would still be the little girl that you used to be. And that girl would much rather just be happy and provided for.
oh yeah, I mean like 10 years ago, I'd have happily been a housewife and had all the babies and spent the day looking after them and making all the good food for my husband coming home and all that great stuff. But it's a fairy tale that doesn't exist.
It does exist. But I hear you. It does exist though. Say the payoff, the trade-off is this type of man. This is like the women who date NBA players and they have everything made. And they keep their business and they go into fashion and makeup and they start a YouTube channel and all of that. But their guy, consequently, is less than monogamous. And why is that? It's because he has the status and the power to do so and still maintain your lifestyle.
But I wouldn't like that
No,
either.
you wouldn't. Most
I'm
women
way too possessive. I get really jealous.
Most people wouldn't, but at the end of the day, oh, I wouldn't say most, I'd say a lot of people don't. And those are typically women who are 30 or above, right? And it doesn't change until you hit 45 or 50. Okay, so once that happens, and you've done everything you do with your life, and you're still not fulfilled, because you won't be, because your internal child still hasn't been satisfied. You haven't been able to be a free girl that can just dance and be happy and be protected. You've had to work for everything. You've had to defend yourself. You've had to build. But you don't have anything to share with. You don't have any kids, any legacy. Then you won't be satisfied if you don't have that part of your life fulfilled. And that may be adopting or whatever. But you could go adopt a kid and become a single mother. But it's just going to triple your workload. And yes, you will have that opportunity to shine love into somebody's life. But if it's a little boy, how are you going to teach you to be a man without having a man there? And if it's a little girl, how will you instill the value that a man should have in a little girl so that she would know when she picks her man not to let this bum do it or not to let that bum do it? So at the end of the day, single mothers and single fathers do completely different things. But together,
They're a unit.
so in that union, again, a man's loyalty is always looked at from a woman's perspective. That's not how men are loyal. We aren't made like that, just like women aren't made like us. And so when you do together, that connection, is to say, if a man can do it, why can't a woman do it? Is to say, do you want to be a man? Do you want to sleep with everybody that crosses your path? No, you don't want these things. This is a man thing. It's how men are built, and that's okay. But again, if I got to stay at home and she supports me no matter what I do, then I go out in public and I talk to girls, and I can do this, I can have fun with that. But at the end of the day, it's coming down to this. I'm not spending a dime on you, woman. I got things I'm providing for. So are you here because you just want to do something for her? You want to do X, Y, Z? And if she says no, excellent. So then we can be honest about it and you can move on. If she says yes, I have to start to question why.
Yeah.
Which puts her in a losing position as well. So technically, by not trying to grasp and hold on to that from a man, you allow him to be the man he can be. And then a man, when he rejects a woman, walks with giants. It's kind of weird, you know. So he's now even a stronger man because he can now reject women. He doesn't have to succumb to every woman that crosses his path. So now, if any woman is going to get to that level with him, she's going to have to bring value to him. So he's not losing anything. He's not taking anything from your future, your goals, your plans, or anything. Everything still stays in line. And still, what's she going to want at the end? She's going to want a relationship. And he's like, nah, I got it. I'm already. Gotta go. You don't owe her anything. You get her pregnant. Whatever. Move on. You're not that for me. You were this, you were fun, but what I treasure, what I value, I'm building with that.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters is my legacy. So it seems funny, it seems unfair, but fairness is nowhere in this side of the grave. The fairest thing about life is everybody dies.
That's true.
Okay, so
That is true.
there's no fairness even in sports. The team with the most money, is it me?
I think it's you.
You sure? Because I've been taking extra turns.
You've been taking extra turns. Oh, well, I've got it, shall I?
No.
No, it must. No.
It must be.
I feel like it is me, and I'm just gonna steal your book.
You can't. Because he's guarded.
Oh no, it's check. No, it's me.
It's
I
not.
need to move.
Yeah.
It is me because I've still not moved. Because I have to do that.
You don't have to do that. The rook isn't checking. But you can't kill him.
No, I know. That's
You
the
can't.
place. I was there.
Yeah.
So I can't go there. I can't go there.
No, but you can stay where you are because the rook can't kill you from them. But you can't kill the rook. Cheating.
Why am I cheating? How is that cheating? It's a perfectly legal move.
So yes, it is not fair. It is not fair that a woman does not get to talk to other men, but a man can talk to the woman. But in that, if you see a guy and he's just this, you go to a social event and there's just this lone guy, no matter how cute he is, he's not with anybody, not surrounded by women, he's not as attractive. Now, if he's there with 4 women, he is attractive. You are wondering, what is he doing? How does he?
No.
I mean, there's an attractive part to him. You don't want him, but he is attractive. You can tell he's attractive because he's got women all around. He must be doing something. Hugh Hefner was not sexy looking. But he had value. Dan Brazilian, he might be a little sexy looking, but he's surrounded by women at all times. That gives him power in a room. And that gives him power among every other man that he stands with.
Which is ridiculous.
Women giving him power? That's not ridiculous. That's how it was made. A man is powerless without a woman. It's just a money maker. He's just a taxpayer.
I had another point to make as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious on your take on it actually in the conversation of double standards.
Mm-hmm.
So, a woman texts a guy too much, or double text, or whatever. She's needy. A guy does it, and will keep doing it, which blatant disregards the optics of it. But they don't really get called needy.
Oh yeah, he's just weird.
How does that one work?
He's a weird person. First of all, the texting standard is bullcrap. Everybody's text etiquette is trash. Texting is not really communicating because you can't tell the tone of what's happening. But it's what we do, right? So anybody who double texts is looked at as needy. The guy is looked at as a pervert or a very pushy person. The woman is looked at as needy. But I want a woman to need me. Guys use that against women to again further manipulate them to say, oh, she's needy.
It's controlling behaviours. That
It
you
is
can't
sometimes
text
about-
too much.
Right.
You can't do this.
Right, because you don't have to look at a text.
Yeah.
But it is weird to not text back.
It's rude.
Right.
It's
So
not even weird. It's just downright
right.
rude.
It's bad texting.
It's
So
one of the things it's one of my absolute hates and the biggest problem turn off in a man is when they don't text back.
Right.
They'll leave you on red.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So it's a weird standard made by what do you call them, millennials. It's not the way we communicate.
Which generations of millennials?
It's kind of like what I think millennials and what it is different. They say millennials are from the '90s. I think millennials are from 2000s, like late.
Yeah, I'd like to think I
late.
wasn't a millennial.
Anybody who's 20 years, anybody who grew up with a cell phone, anybody who, you know what I mean,
I
like
was like pre-internet.
yeah.
That's
I'm-
not safe.
No, I'm pre-internet too. You know, so like
Only just, don't you?
yeah, I was there when the DOS floppy disk, you know, the first Mac. I didn't get my first cell phone until I was in college, and it was just a little T-Mobile, you know, like
Yeah, it's sneaking it.
yeah, I had a Razor, you know what I mean, like you know what I mean. Nextel was a big thing. We aren't millennials, but for some reason they say we are. I think, and it's like that's unfair. Millennials are people who need technology.
I like to just take my
Right. I don't
Do
like
not
to be on my
disturb.
phone. Yeah, and it's like for that reason, it does create. There is this desire, and I can't think how this person said it. Basically, loving somebody and desiring somebody are necessary. You can't desire somebody when you're right in front of them. You can't
Yeah.
look. You desire them when they're away. Then you come together and you love. But then love isn't enough. You need desire, so you have to have space.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's like a ebb and flow to that people don't respect. They think if I love you, I need to see you every day, every minute. I need to be, you know, and it's like
No, it's too much.
that's cool. I'm glad you like me that much, but turn it into desire.
That's not a healthy relationship though either. I couldn't deal with that because I still need space. I think so used to being alone now that if someone's there too much, it's like, are you gonna go now?
Yeah.
I've had enough. Leave me in peace.
Let me get a minute. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And so so there is that need for desire. I'll desire you when you walk out the door and you're over there and I'm thinking about you and I say, hey, you coming back right over there? You know what I mean? Like that's desire, which turns into love. But all desire is like a dude that's a pen pal trying to get to know you but lives too far away. Like that doesn't create love. It doesn't cultivate love. It's just desire.
Yeah, it's lust mixed in with it.
Yeah.
You
So
know, you want somebody, but it's when you want something you can't have as well that then becomes 10 times more attractive.
good group. Is it your turn?
I've no idea. I think my brain is switched off.
We'll just see that I won.
You would win. Let's be honest. There's no way I'm winning this. Absolutely no way I'm winning this. I've been up since like 20 to 5 now.
Oh, yeah.
Defense. Yeah, I'm gonna get back up at 5 o'clock.
All right. Well, what is it?
You know, for being a strong, independent woman. In those instances, I could, yeah. Man's gonna let me stay in bed and learn how to lie in because I don't do that.
Yeah, most people can't because they're programmed to do what they have to do. And so that programming comes from you stepping into a masculine role of providing for yourself, which is not bad, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I think otherwise you'd be happier if you didn't have to report. So this is the thing about it. Again, I want to be in the position to where I say, hey, we're going to go move to South Spain for 2 months. And I don't want to hear about what your boss wants you to do because you don't report to me, report to me.
Where are we going?
You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like, I need to be able to establish that.
Yeah.
My goal in financial stability is to the point where I can say, all right, we're going to bounce for 2 months. And I don't need you to say, yeah, but I got to report to on Tuesday, XYZ. So I do want you to have a job, just not one that requires you to
But
draw.
there's very few jobs that would allow somebody that luxury.
Truly. But if you had your own small jewelry shop that didn't need to make money,
The market shop.
or, you know, right, or, you know what I mean? Something like that didn't have to make money, but it's just a passion. I
Yeah.
like making cakes. I like to have a crew and tell them what we want to do today and take some orders here and there. I'm gonna be gone for 2 months. I'll be on the phone with you. that can be established once you have the time to establish it, because you don't have to spend 8 hours a day down the road at the site,
Yeah.
right? And that will be a more peaceful life for you. But for me,
But that
would.
is such a double standard in itself.
That women prefer to be provided for.
Yeah, just allowing somebody that life of luxury.
But that is what brings, so, because men don't seek happiness. A real man doesn't seek happiness.
But surely you want to be happy.
What makes a man happy is the labor of his fruits, right?
I can think of a few things.
Right, at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, men don't directly do things to become happy. They invest in things that turn into happiness. Okay,
Yeah.
my happiness is providing for my family so they're happy, which makes me happy. Which means I want to go back out, strap on my armor, do what I have to do, so that I can come home, lay it down, and my kid can jump in my arms, and my girl can give me a kiss, and XYZ, right? That makes me happy, is knowing I provided for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the nature of manly men.
It's very noble.
It's not even, it's just how we're made.
It is.
It's just regular, but it's
It's
outdated.
not, no.
It is. There are a lot of guys like that. The problem with those guys are they are not in the top 20%, i.e., they don't have a good enough job, they're not tall enough, they're not smart enough. Those three things probably. Okay.
I'd love to say that height wasn't so much of a thing.
It's crazy because it's such an unchangeable thing.
But it's, I mean, that's an interesting double standard as well. As like we see all, you know, obviously like the use of Tinder and stuff, and all the memes and that. But like, it's acceptable for a woman to ask a man how tall he is.
Mm.
But I think there's one of the memes doing the round that, you know, it's like a screenshot of the chats, and the guy turns around and asks how skinny the woman is.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's deemed to be unacceptable.
Right.
But
Based on the precepts, whatever you want to call it, of honor. It's not an honorable thing to ask women her age.
Mhm.
We know this. XYZ. Things you don't ask women, you don't go in a woman's purse.
Yeah.
It's just things like that, right? They don't make sense. They're not necessarily logical. They're just the way it is. And for a man to be upset about that shows he's not a man, he's a boy.
But I agree with it. It's like, yeah, if a woman's going to ask you your height, yeah, why shouldn't you ask like something
Because that
personal?
would be tit for tat. If a woman can do it, a man can do it. It's not how we do things. As men, that's not how we do things. Right? So a boy would say, okay, fine, you want to know how tall I am, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Way to be childish. At the end of the day, are you accepting the standard or not? You can say, I'm 5'8", and she can say, that's way too short. And I say, I mean, laying down. You know, like, I mean, or, you know, but it's like, you can get around it. Funniness bridges a lot of gaps. It fills in a lot of voids in itself. What a lot of women don't realize is funniness is the tool of pleasure. If you can get a woman to laugh, you can get a lot more out of her.
Yeah.
Right? But that doesn't mean he's worth giving it to. It's just that he's funny. He entertains me. I'm not entertainment.
Yeah.
You may laugh at some things I say. Cool. But I'm not here to make
Make
you
you
laugh.
laugh, yeah.
So some guys they've hell bent on that, and it works. It works very well. But it's not a good metric for picking a mate that he's funny. Because then what if he needs to be serious? Is he capable of doing that as well?
Yeah. Who do you think puts more stock in looks, men or women?
And then,
I was just very curious to get your take on that one.
because you can see other dudes with chicks way out there. So what else you think? Elon Musk. He's a powerful man.
I knew what I thought the
Yeah.
answer was.
Yeah, it's-
I'm just curious what your take was.
It's a logical, or unrational, but logical thing, yes. So, but that's okay, right? So, when a woman calls a guy ugly, this might be the first. You're not looking for that reason anyway. Your last boyfriend was ugly too. And now what? You know?
Has anyone actually ever called you ugly?
Yeah, that's where I got my nickname
Which one?
from. Ugly.
Oh, right, you actually get called ugly.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's where I got it from. And it was a childhood trauma, if you want to call it that, but it formed me into the person to where I found a semblance to Jesus in that when they described Jesus in the Bible, they said he was disfigured and the type of person that people would get attracted to. I said, cool, so, you know, it's not a sin. It's just what I am, you know. So I accepted it, and I owned it. And my brothers are beautiful, so that's the other thing. Like, you remember when cell phones first came out? Never seen anything like this in my life. We were at a mall food court. Me, my friends, and my older brother. And this girl is walking by trying to get a picture of my brother. She just take a picture. Like, this is before that was weird. Like, it was like flip phones.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, you pretty bastard. Like, that's never happened with me. You know, nobody's ever went out of their way to get a picture of me. You know, like, oh yeah.
Definitely a little bit guilty of that one.